Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ayo. Thank you for stopping by again. And if this is your first time on the channel, you're definitely welcome. Do well to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you get to see more of my content. And in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this cargo pants. And without further ado, let's get started. So for this tutorial guys, we're going to be making use of this Ankara print and this black material, right? I'm going to be making use of a black crepe for the pocket, while the Ankara piece is going to be for the trouser. So right here guys, I have the material folded into two, as you can see right here, okay? And this particular piece is for the front piece, okay? And to know the amount of fabrics to fold, all you need is your hip circumference divided by 4, and you are going to be adding about 5 to 4 inches to that. And the next thing to do is to go ahead and mark the start line. And having done that, the next thing to do is to go ahead and start marking the vertical lines. So I'm going to place my tape rule in such a way that I have 1.5 inches outward, and this 1.5 inches is for the band, all right? So the first vertical line that will indicate is actually the hip line, all right? And next, I'm going to go ahead and indicate my crotch depth, all right, of 12 inches. And after my crotch depth, I'm going to indicate the tie line, which is about 2 to 2.5 inches away from the crotch. And the next line to indicate is the trouser length. And for this trouser, we are going to be making use of 42 inches. So I will indicate that here. And having done that, I'm going to go ahead and add 3 inches allowance for folding. And having done that, I'll just go ahead and cut off the excess. And having done that, we are going to come back to the top here, and we are going to mark the horizontal measurements starting from the hip line, all right? So we are going to get the hip circumference and we are going to divide it by 4, and whatever value we have, we are going to add 1 inch to that for joining allowance, okay? So right here, I will just indicate my quarter of my hip, all right, plus 1 inch allowance right on the hip line here. And I will repeat the same thing that I have on the hip line. I'm going to indicate it on the crotch line and also on the waist line here. And having done that, the next thing to do is to connect each point on a straight line, just like I'm doing right here. So right now, the next thing to do is to go ahead and get the crotch extension, okay? And what I usually do is to measure whatever I have here, all right? And I'm going to use my tape measure to divide that into 2. And after dividing it into 2, I'm going to divide it again into 2, all right? And whatever value I get is what I use for my crotch extension. And the next thing I'll do is just to go ahead and indicate the crotch extension using the value that I got. And having done that, the next thing to do is just to go ahead and create our crotch cuff. And the next thing to do is to come to the crotch line here, and you are going to measure whatever we have there, and we are going to divide it into 2. So I'm dividing it into 2 using my tape measure here, all right, just to get the middle point, okay? And having done that, I'll just go ahead and indicate the center line that I got right here, and I'm going to repeat the same process right here on the tie line. I'm going to indicate the center line and join it together on a straight line like so. All right, then the next thing to do is just to go ahead and get your tie circumference, and whatever you have, we're going to divide it into 2. And here my tie circumference divided by 2 is actually 14. So I will make sure that half of 14 is on this side, all right, and the other half I'm going to indicate it on this side, and altogether we are going to have 14, okay? All right, and the next thing to do is just to join the crotch extension to the tie line. And since this trouser is not a fitted one, so we are just going to come from this point here and we are going to connect it to the hem line. So I'm just going to curve it a little bit here like so. Then from there, I'm just going to take it on a straight line down to the hem line. And having done that, the next thing to do is to come to this other side, and we are going to join from the tie line to the hem line. So just come to the tie line and measure whatever you have there, and you are going to minus 1 from it, and that is the amount that you are going to leave here on the M line. All right, here I have 14, so you are just going to minus 1 from there to give you 13, and from the tie line you are going to join it to the point there. All right, so here I'll just go ahead and join from the tie line to the M line. And having done that, the next thing to do is to come to the waist area here, and we are going to go ahead and measure our waist circumference divided by 4, and we are going to go ahead and add 1 inch to that. If you are adding a dart, you are going to be adding 2 inches, all right, but I'm not going to be adding a dart. All right, so after doing that, I'll just go ahead and shape it inward like this. I'm going to connect it to the hip area like so. The next thing to do is to create our waist slant. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to come down by 1 inch, and I'm going to link it up to the side like so, all right, in order to create the waist slant. And after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and add half an inch allowance to the waist area here. And the next thing to do is just to go ahead and cut out the pattern. And after cutting out the excesses, here we have our front piece, and I'll just go ahead and indicate that here. So right here, guys, this is the front piece that we just cut out, and I went ahead to place it on this piece that we're going to use for the back piece. And I make sure to have allowance at the top, at the sides, all right, as you can see right here. And this is it around the M line, all right. They are actually at the same length on the M line, okay. And the next thing to do, guys, is just to go ahead and modify the back piece, because the back piece is always bigger than the front piece, okay? So I'm going to come to the crotch line here, and I'm going to extend it by 2.5 inches. I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't know that my phone was not covering the whole thing, okay? What I did was just to extend it by 2.5 inches, and I drew a straight line to meet up that 2.5 inches. And the next thing to do is just to come to the hip area here, and we are going to extend it by 2 inches, okay? And we are going to come to the waist here, and we are going to go up by 2 inches. And having done that, the next thing to do is just to go ahead and connect the points together. So here I just joined from the hip to the crotch, and from the waist to the hip, and right from that waist we are going to join it to the extension that we have here. And the next thing to do is to come to the side here, and on the waist area here we are going to come out by 1 inch, all right, and I'll indicate that here, and I'll come down to this hip area here, and we're also going to come outward by 1 inch. And having done that, I'll come to this 1 inch mark, and I will link it up to the 2 inches extension we have here. And the next thing to do is to link the waist to the hip line here, and from the hip I'll just shape it inward like so. So here I'll just go ahead and use the chalk to highlight the side all the way to the hemline. And having done that, I'll come to this other side here, and I'll start marking 1.5 inches, all right, outward, and I'll connect it to the crotch line. And having done that, we are done with the back piece. So I'll just remove the front piece, and I'll cut out the back piece. And after cutting the back piece, the next thing to do is to work on the front piece, and we are going to create our pocket on the front piece, okay? So what I will do is just to come to the waist area here, and I'm going to measure 4 inches inward like so, and I'll indicate that here. And I'll come down here and I'll measure 7 inches, then I'll connect the point together like so. And right now I'll just go ahead and cut out this part. And having done that, the next thing to do is to go ahead and cut out the pocket and the pocket facing. And that's why I've gone ahead to cut out these square fabrics that we have here. And when you measure it, the length is 10 inches and the wideness is 9 inches. And I'm going to remove 2 pieces from the 4 pieces, okay? And I'm going to be placing the front pattern on it like so. All right, I'll align it correctly and place it like so, and I'll just go ahead and cut out the shape that we have on the trouser. And having done that, this is what the pocket facing would be looking like. All right, so I'll just pick a piece from the front pattern, and I'm just going to go ahead and align the pocket facing on it, right side facing right side, like so. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch on it using 1/2 inch, just like I indicated right here. And that's exactly what I've done here, guys. I've gone ahead to stitch it together, and here I repeated the same process to the other side. And the next thing to do right here, guys, is just to go ahead and notch this curved part here so that it relaxes well. And having done that, I'll just go ahead and flip the pockets facing towards the wrong side of the fabrics, like so. All right, and having done that, I'll just go ahead and open it up, and I'm going to be top stitching right on this sewing allowance here. I'm going to top stitch on it just to make sure that the pocket is secured. And so right here, guys, I've gone ahead to top stitch on the pocket facing. So I'll just go ahead and pack it inward like so. You can just go ahead and give it a good press, and the next thing to do is just to go ahead and connect the pocket cover. Okay, so I'm just going to pick a piece from the square that we cut out earlier on, and I'm going to place it and align it correctly like so. And I'll turn it to the other side like so. Then I'll be picking the pocket facing and the pocket cover like this. Then I'll pin it all around. And after pinning it, we're just going to go ahead and stitch it from this end to this end. So right here, guys, I've gone ahead to join the pocket and the pocket facing together. And the next thing I'll do is just to flip it to the right side like so, and we're going to be joining this part. All right, here I'll just go ahead and chalk it. So we are going to be joining this part, and also here we're going to stitch with 1/2 inch right here and here. So here, guys, that's exactly what I've done. I've stitched it here and here, and right now the pocket is secured, and you can even put things inside, right? And right now, in order to return it back to the shape it was earlier on, we're going to come here on the waist area here, and we're going to come outward by 4 inches. All right, right from the pocket, come outward by 4 inches, and from that 4 inches marked, we're going to connect it to the hip area. Then we are going to cut out the excess. And having done that to both of the front piece, the next thing to do is just to pick one of the front piece and also pick one piece from the back piece, and we are going to align them correctly, and we are going to be joining by 1/2 inch on the side. And that's exactly what I've done, guys. I've joined together on the side, and I also repeated the same process to the other leg. And right now, the next thing to do is just to open up the trouser leg, and we are going to be adding a bias to the side seam. All right, and before we do that, we will need to go ahead and open up the side seam, and you're going to iron it just like I have done here. I open it up, then I iron it. And the next thing to do, guys, is to go ahead and add the bias to the side. So here, guys, I have a long stripe of fabrics, and I've already gone ahead to add stay to it. Then I went ahead to fold both of the side. All right, the wideness of this band of this bias is actually 2 inches. Then I folded on both sides, okay, and I iron it. So what I'm just going to do is just to come to the side seam here, and I will align the bias properly, and I'll just go ahead and pin it all the way from the waist to the hem line. And after pinning it, we are going to stitch the band on both sides. So right now, I've gone ahead to attach the bias to the side seam of this trouser leg, and the next thing to do is to get our cargo pocket and also insert it. Please refer to the video before this one if you don't know how to make a cargo pocket. All right, so before I insert it, I'm going to go ahead and measure from waist to knee on this trouser. And for this tutorial, the waist to knee length is actually 22 inches. So I'll just go ahead and indicate that here. And from that knee line, I'll just go up by 4 inches, all right? You can go up by 5 or even 6 inches. But for this tutorial, I'll just go up by 4 inches. And I just indicated that right now. So from that 4 inches point, that is where my cargo pocket is going to start from, okay? So I'll just place it like that, and I'm going to chalk the shape of the pockets right on the trouser so that it will serve as guide when joining. And the next thing to do is just to go ahead and attach the border of the pocket to the line that we marked, all right? And we are going to stitch it all around. And I'll also go ahead and insert the pocket cover also. And right here, guys, that's exactly what I've done. As you can see, I've already gone ahead to insert the pocket, and right here it is looking neat and secured. And the next thing to do, guys, is just to get the other leg of the trouser, and we are going to align it right side facing the right side. And having done that, we are going to go ahead and join the crotch line, the crotch area, okay? And in order to join the crotch area, I'll come to the waist area and I'll measure what I have on the waist area, okay? Then I will remove half of my waist circumference from there, and whatever is left is what we are going to share on both sides of the crotch, okay? And here my waist is 16, okay? And the allowance that I have, I will share it on both sides of the crotch, just as I am doing right here. Then the next thing is to come to the hip area also, and we are going to repeat the same process. And having done that, we are just going to go ahead and link each point together in order to create our crotch curve. And the next thing to do is just to go ahead and stitch it. And right here, guys, I've gone ahead to join the crotch line, and on the back I left some opening for the zip. Then I finish off the crotch line, okay? And the next thing to do is to separate the legs. And up next, the next thing to do is just to stitch the inseam. And right here, that's exactly what I have done, all right? And the next thing to do is just to get our band. And right here, I have a long stripe of fabrics here, and I've already gone ahead to fold and iron, okay? And this band is 4 inches wide, and I folded on both sides, then iron it, okay? So the next thing we are going to do is just to go ahead and insert the band on the trouser. And that's exactly what I've done here, guys. I've added the band to the trouser and also went ahead to add zipper to it. And right now, the next thing to do is just to go ahead and fold the hemline of the trouser. Then we are going to go ahead and stitch it. And so right here, guys, I've gone ahead to stitch the hem of the trouser piece. And right about now, our trouser is ready.